That's a good one. Not giant, but there we go. Nice smallmouth on the tube. Just fishing this little rock seam close to a spawning area, dragging the tube kind of on this basketball sized rock. And it's kind of tough, you know, they're in post-spawn transition. They're kind of starting to get out a little bit deeper. So sitting the boat in probably 12, catching them 8 to 10 foot deep probably. A lot of solid ones like this, you know, 3.5 to 4 pounders. So get her back in the water. Right now we're kind of on a offshore shoal. There's a lot of rock, sand, grass mixture, and they spawn on that. And we're kind of on the eastern side. There's a, you know, predominantly west-northwest wind, so it's kind of protected on this side of the shoal, and it's where they're spawning. And kind of on the back side, there's some bigger rocks, and it kind of drops off a little bit. So these post-spawn smallmouth are kind of moving out a little bit deeper and just feeding up really. So one of the important things has been making the right cast, because we got a lot of weeds up on these shoals, and you know, finding the right drops. So like up here on my left, there's a whole bunch of clumps of weeds and stuff, but then if you look out here to my right, you can see that rock gets a lot chunkier. You know, it's a lot bigger size rock, and it has a little drop on it. So like, you know, there's a little boulder on top, and those fish, you know, they really relate to that kind of stuff. You can see that fish right there that just came up off the bottom, but you have that drop, and they've been sitting right there in that bigger rock. So, you know, you can still catch fish just kind of casting around, but you're really increasing your odds of putting it in front of one when you're able to, you know, look and see exactly where it's at. So with this tube, you can do a lot with it. It's a real versatile bait. This week, I don't know if it's just because they're, you know, post-spawn and they're kind of, you know, sluggish or what it is, but, you know, the bite for me here has been dragging it pretty slow, and the bite's been subtle. You know, they're just kind of slowly picking it up. I've caught a couple stroking it, and that's a real popular thing. But, you know, they just, I don't know that they don't seem aggressive enough, or they need to be grouped up a little bit better. But some of my bites have come dragging it through these rocks, and I'll have to pop it to get it over the zebra mussels and stuff. But most of it, they just kind of subtly, you know, grab it off the bottom. The tube's really nice for dragging through rock versus other baits like a Ned rig. You know, the plastic around the head is soft, and so it kind of rolls around the rocks a little bit better. Or if you get in a crevice and you pop it, that plastic gives and you can get it out. Whereas like a Ned rig, the head is hard and it digs into those rocks immediately. So generally you can always pop it through, or, you know, pull kind of hard, and it'll flex that plastic and it'll kind of slide right out of there. And it's a great bait to be able to throw to mimic the gobies and stuff that get down in the rocks too. Whereas a drop shot, you know, obviously it works really well, but this thing is spiraling down into those holes in the rocks, and, you know, just like a goby would or something like that. So I think with a smallmouth, getting a triggering response is important sometimes instead of a feeding response, you know, because they're aggressive fish, and you can figure out ways to make them bite a lot of the time. Not a bad one there. Nice. So this rod, you can see that bends real nice. It's got a lot of backbone, but it's got a nice tip where you can still fight them good. So this rod I'm throwing this tube's on a 7-1 medium, extra fast action, Fenwick World Class. Real sensitive rod, but like I was saying, it's got enough backbone where you can pop it, get it through the rocks, set the hook at a good distance, but it's got enough tip to be able to fight fish. Especially, you know, most of the time this tube hooks them pretty good, but you still want, if they're jumping and barely have that hook, you want plenty of flex in your rod to always keep the tension tight on that fish. This one was definitely not coming off. Pretty fish. So the tube I'm throwing is a 3.5 inch Berkley Max Scent tube. Kind of throwing these lighter, you know, real natural colors. Throwing it on a 3/16 and 1/4 ounce jig heads. And I'm throwing the little bit lighter ones because, one, we're in a little bit shallower water, but these bigger rocks, it's a lot easier to pull your tube up over them, you know, with a little bit lighter weight. Because if it's a little heavier, it'll dig in a little bit more. So it comes through the rocks well. And also what I like about it is a little bit smaller profile around the head. So I feel like you can hook fish good and, you know, keep them pinned up really well because there's not much in the way. So if I can throw a lighter jig head, that's what I'm going to do. Nice. right, another nice one. Man, it's been a great day catching post-spawn smallmouth with the tube on this little bit chunky rock. Awesome way to catch them. Big pretty fish. Love eating those gobies. Gonna get her back in the water. Man, that's fun.